Smoke gets nothing effect. Has that one taken away by Troy Hellman. It seems like this could be.
Hello and welcome to the Overwatch League recap, a talk show focusing on the Overwatch League. As always, I'm joined by Mel. Mel, how are you doing?
Oh, wonderful.
Wonderful. And this week we have a very special guest, Mel's arch nemesis, Edanar.
Hola. How are you doing today?
Good.
E2? Wait. How are you?
E2?
Did I just repeat?
U2?
Yeah. You know what? Shush. Shush it, Mel. You are my arch nemesis. Although I feel we will be in more agreement this season than the past 2 seasons.
We'll see.
I still don't believe in mercy, but we're not talking about mercy. We're not talking about that today. No. Glad to be here, guys. Glad to be here.
Awesome. Yeah, we haven't talked face to face in a while. I've heard
Probably BlizzCon.
Yeah, I think that was the last time we talked. I've been hiding under a rock. BlizzCon was hard for me. There was a lot of things I was expecting that didn't happen, and I always get the BlizzCon blues after BlizzCon for some reason. And I'm like, why do I do this? Should I even do this? I'm horrible compared to all these other amazing content creators. I mean, I get to hang out with so many amazing people. I just feel very little whenever I leave BlizzCon.
Right, like you get that, and I leave BlizzCon, and I'm like, I'm starting another podcast.
Yeah, you're on Dropping Spicy now.
Oh, that,
Apex.
and then me and Totem started another one. Hearthstone Battlegrounds podcast.
Oh yeah, I did see something on that. I've not listened, but I don't want to play Hearthstone Battlegrounds.
Fair enough. Then you are not our target audience.
Yeah, I played Hearthstone for years and years, and it was that what's the troll patch, and it just killed it, and I haven't opened it since. So.
I will, and your lovely wife will probably attest to this. Hearthstone Battlegrounds is not Hearthstone.
Oh yeah, she loves it.
It's in the Hearthstone game, but it's not Hearthstone at all.
She plays it, and the games take forever, and that was something I liked about Hearthstone is that you could play real quick games. And
well, if you're good, it lasts forever.
That's what I say.
If you're good, it lasts 20, 25 minutes.
I was like, it only takes
so long
because I'm good.
All right, well, this is not a Hearthstone podcast, so we do need to get into the show. We like to always start the show with thanking our recap producer, Shazir. Thank you. And any other patrons we have, thank you very much. Jumping in, we're going to talk a bunch of news. Like there's good stuff's happening, bad stuff's happening, but we're going to jump right in. And the first thing we're going to talk about is something that I kind of called way back. I mean, at the start of last year when everybody talked about Twitch, I was like, well, there's nothing to say that they don't go to a different platform. I thought maybe Mixer, but YouTube just kind of swooped in and grabbed it. So what do you think about them being on YouTube this season?
I love it. I absolutely love it. Not just because Twitch is very niche. There's more people watch YouTube than Twitch. I also love it because I'm also greedy. So for instance, I own a lot of Apple products. Apple is not huge fans of Twitch because they're owned by Amazon. Competitor. So, like, I have my Apple TV. I can't get Twitch on there. I can get, like, a untwitched app on there, which really doesn't work. But now I can just go on, like, YouTube comes on every Apple product imaginable. So now I can just log on to my Apple TV and I can actually watch it clearly on my TV instead of having to watch it at my computer most of the time.
Yeah.
That is true. That's not something I thought about, but you are right. Like most smart TVs or any device you have has YouTube on it already. And so being able to watch it from the comfort of your living room is easier now than having to have like a Chromecast or something like that.
Yeah,
And you hit the younger market.
well, and you hit the younger market, and what you said about more people watch YouTube. I mean, we're talking an astronomical amount of more people watching. Now, for live stuff, it's cool. Like, I will get live stuff from anybody I'm subscribed to, and they'll put it up at the top. But that initial live thing doesn't usually, like, live stuff usually doesn't pop into my just, recommended. It only pops in when I've subscribed to the channel, and then I see it pretty easy. But my worry is, will people find it, like new people?
Okay, so I actually have a story of this, because not only is Overwatch switching, but the Call of Duty League is switching and Hearthstone switching. So I wanted to check out Friday, was the first day of the league. I wanted to check out like the production value and stuff like that. I go to YouTube, I type in Call of Duty. Can't find it. Like, I legit couldn't find it. I had to look online onto their webpage what the site is, the group is, and it's COD League. So I typed in COD League, then I was able to find it. But like, if you go in, the same thing, if you go in and type in Overwatch League, it won't pop up the live Overwatch League.
Why?
I don't know.
Do you think that's something they're working on?
I hope so.
I would hope so. There's a lot that is, I think a lot that the fans are used to with Twitch that they're not going to get, like, we're not getting token drops right away. That's been said. It's something they're working on and looking at for the future. So we're not going to be getting token drops from the get-go.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't really, everybody talks about the chat. And when I'm watching the Overwatch League, the chat's always off. I mean, I don't turn it on at all.
It's legit why would you? The most annoying thing in the world.
That's like having the live game in-game Reddit page up. That's why would I want to be part of this cesspool?
Right?
Like,
yeah,
that's not even a question. That's like a bonus for me that the chat, I don't have to minimize it. Like, that's a bonus. But I think findability of it.
Well,
accessibility.
There will be a chat though on YouTube. Like, there is a chat for YouTube Live.
There's.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it won't be as annoying, or maybe all the Twitch people will just corrupt it.
Now, I will say the production value I thought was better. Now, granted, it was COD. And there was some like minor camera angles, in-game camera angles that they had to work on, but that's not a production issue from YouTube's standpoint. That's like the people actually running the game.
What kind of viewership was that getting?
It was not good. But they had only announced it that day.
You're talking like not good, like 5 people, 300 people, 1,000 people?
I think I saw...
It was like a good 10. We had double digits.
No. I think it was at like 50, 60,000 for the first map.
I mean, shoot, that's not bad at all.
No, but it's not what they're expecting. Like, Call of Duty is massively popular, and this is the first professional match for the Call of Duty League, and you're just like, wah, wah. But it's because they announced where they'll be playing it day of.
Yeah.
That is weird. The Call of Duty League is just not hearing as much about it like I was the Overwatch League.
Puckett's over there.
Interesting.
Puckett's casting.
Interesting. Oh,
is
man.
He? Yeah, that's where Puckett got his start. He was hosting Call of Duty on MLG. So, and then he came over. So he's back over there. But yeah, I like the production value of YouTube.
Well, I'm interested to see if they get the same type of numbers that they were getting on Twitch. There's a lot of rumors that they were doing some shady things to get the numbers they were getting on Twitch, so we'll see.
Okay, so my question would be, with Twitch, you had the all access pass. Are they just nixing that this year?
That is what they haven't officially said it, but like the commissioner, Pete
Velasquez.
Sure, Pete V, said today that it's something that they've heard us and that's something that they're looking at for in the future.
Got it. See, I think that's where they're going to get the most backlash is taking away things that they've given us already, right? So having the point of view available was something they added last year, and everybody was very excited about it. Now switching platforms, they're removing it. It's a lot easier to not add anything new, but when you start taking things away, I think people are going to start to get angry that we're watching it before.
Yeah, that's just human nature. Like you never, like if you're a boss someplace, like you always think real hard about giving your employees something new, because you can't take things away. That is extremely hard, and humans do not react to it well at all.
Remember that raise I gave you last week? Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and
I'm not gonna do that this week.
The other big thing is they're introducing goat baguette coming up here in the next few weeks, which you buy with the token drops or whatever the currency you get from drops.
Yeah.
Overwatch League tokens. Well, if nobody has a way of getting those except for shelling out cash or stockpiling from before.
Yeah, and will that affect the numbers? Because I do know people that would put it on just to get drops.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if that'll affect numbers also.
Like I used to, well, see, and this is, and I don't know how big of a portion it is that did this, but like for me, I would rig it up through my PlayStation to play on my TV, but then I'd still have my computer on with the Twitch up to get the drops.
Yeah.
While I watched it on TV. So I think technically that counts as 2 viewers.
Yeah, we would do the same thing. Like I'd make sure I'd watch it I'd have it on my computer, but we were watching it on our TV, but there was 2 of us in the house. I was like, I want to get a drop too.
So as crazy as this sounds, I guess we'll just have to wait and see, because Overwatch League is really good at making sure we get information in a timely fashion.
Oh yeah, yeah,
and not day of.
They're awesome.
Yeah. So we got that going for us.
Yeah, it's something.
All right, well, something that the league is probably struggling with very hard right now is the coronavirus has broken out in China, and weeks 2, 3, and 4 were supposed to be in China. The home stands were supposed to be there, and now they have to scramble to find out what to do. Anybody who's in China, I don't, like, if there's any players, coaches that are in China right now, I don't think they can even get out to get back to their teams. And then on top of that, they can't send all of the players and staff and stuff over there. So they got to scramble. Like, what are they going to do?
I mean, there's not a ton of options. They can cancel the matches, they can move the matches, they can, move them to a different week later on in the season and hope that maybe it's done by then. But then you take the risk of not moving them late enough and having to reschedule them again, and you've got 4 Chinese teams, and you're looking at really
this is a horrible time for this to happen.
Yeah, like the worst timing ever. Coronavirus.
They have like a couple options. Like they can either move it to a different date, which I don't see happening, because trying to find a date for all these home stands or whatever. B, I don't even think canceling them is an option.
Yeah, I mean, would you just not have those matches for the first 3 weeks? I guess what you could do is use the other homestand? Like, what homestands are supposed to be in the West those weeks? Do we know?
In the West, there's Philly and is the same week as Shanghai. So week 2, there's a homestand in Shanghai and there's a homestand in Philly.
So could they maybe double up in Philly and just have a long freaking day?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, send 2 teams to each one of the other homestands, or maybe spread it out. So, like, when if Hanzhou versus Chengdu come up in, let's say, in the Shanghai, the first event is in Shanghai.
Mhm.
Maybe a future homestand where they're both at, they tack on 1 extra game,
Right.
so they can play each other,
Mm-hmm.
or something like that. Just not.
Well, you look at it too, like the first one, week 2, is in Shanghai, right? And it's just the Pacific East Division.
Mhm.
So those 4 teams could play week 8, where none of them have any games. And we could just have 3 homestands that week or something. And then the week 3 and 4 ones are a little bit harder because they have the Pacific East and West. So
Mhm.
you've got like the Valiant, Gladiators, and Shock. But there are also weeks that they could even sprinkle in a couple games here and there. It would take away from their buys, which would probably suck their travel.
It would completely suck, but it's not. You can't blame the league for this.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm sure people will. Let's be
Oh
honest.
yeah, no, they will.
100%. They probably released the coronavirus just so
Yeah,
this would happen.
Just so.
Evil
My
Activision
vote.
Blizzard.
My vote is they just moved the Chinese teams to Korea, and have them play out of there. Now they would have to scramble to find a venue.
Yep, that's
but
the biggest
Blizzard
problem.
Blizzard has enough pull in the esports community around the world, especially over in South Korea, where StarCraft and Overwatch, Hearthstone, all those games are so massively popular. They could probably pull it to get a venue that's okay. And who says you need to even have a big venue? Like,
and
essentially, they just need to play.
how does it work with visas? Since they're going such a short time, do they even have to mess with a visa, or is it more like just traveling? They just need a passport.
That is going into something that that's
they're
going
not
into
living
international
here.
visa law, and I am not well versed in that.
Right. I guess it would depend on how long you stay, right? Because we didn't need a visa to travel to Europe, but we also weren't picking up residence in Europe.
Yeah. And another question. Where are they now? Like, I mean, I'm sure you could find out, but who says they're not already in China?
Yeah,
I know.
I mean,
That's
I'm sure
going to be the really
Hanzo's-
hard part.
The Spark players are probably, Gushue is probably in China right now. He's from China, playing in Hanzhou. Like,
What about Shanghai? The Shanghai team, their first match is week 2 in Shanghai. Like,
so
why
they're
wouldn't they be
probably
there?
out there. And are they allowed to leave? Like, this is a whole screwed up situation.
Yeah, it's going to be really bad for the entire league if they're not able to get those games played, or even if they're able to get them played with like half of the team. Like, it's going to be bad. So we're hoping...
even the homestands that aren't in China are in jeopardy, because who says that if they're in China they can leave,
right,
and come over here to play?
Yeah,
they may not even be able to make it. So I'm sure we'll know more in the next week or two.
Well, it starts next week, so
again, this is Blizzard. We'll know in the next week or two. But I think they want to wait till the last minute to make a decision to see if things get a little better or
under control.
Right. I'm just hoping that they're, pushing out all their options right now, and they just don't want to make a rash decision not knowing what it's going to be like in 2 weeks. I guess I'm going to go away in 2 weeks. They're just going to find a cure for the coronavirus in 2 weeks.
Well, if they can get it under control, though,
It's
is the
legit just
thing.
been getting worse and worse, though.
Yeah.
Because it's popping up now because like right now the city where it originated is quarantined.
Yes.
But for the week and a half while they were trying to figure out what the hell was going on, people were leaving, going, and
Right.
Yeah, dude. Pandemics. They are a scary thing.
Gosh.
All right. Well, on to a lighter note.
doom and gloom.
Jersey details. Wait. Jersey details go on sale tomorrow? What is this, Mel?
No, there's just more details in that document. So, like, you can see what all the jerseys look like. They're home and away jerseys. And apparently you can pre-order them starting tomorrow.
Cool.
/ today if you're listening to this.
Cool.
I just don't get how this wasn't out sooner. Like, I don't get how like, I like the new jerseys.
I do too.
I would like to go into the new season with my new jersey.
Yeah, not have to
Like,
pay
I want
$45 for overnight mail.
Yeah. Like,
Well,
I
who's
want
to even say that they can ship it overnight? You know, like there's no word on how
The distribution
they will
process
be.
is. Everyone
you can
I've ordered has
pre-order.
been weeks before I get them. So
Exactly. And if you're a Paris fan or a London fan and you're living in the EU, who knows? You might get it by season 4. Like, there have been issues like that in the past. I just want, like, we got new apparel and we knew it was coming, but we can't get it for the new season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you just missed the Christmas window.
mm-hmm.
I mean, that was just a poor choice in general, just for money-making purposes. But I do think two things on this. It's interesting that they're very similar. They're all very similar.
They're very similar.
But I do like them. And then they do have some extra features. Did you guys see the like zippable? I think it's on the arms. It's
No.
for adjustable comfort. It's very cool, guys.
So you can.
So if you have fat
if,
arms,
or if you like
can
to
unzip.
flex,
yeah, it's like my muscles
You
are
like-
so big right now. I
like-
need to unzip.
just walk up to a group of ladies, unzip your sleeve, and be like, "Welcome to the gun show."
Yeah,
No, but
something,
there's like a flap. It's not like you can see your skin. Don't worry.
something DB pointed out to me, which I think is a move in the right direction. Like, they're not doing sports. Like, it's not a sports jersey with holes, for ventilation. It's just they're jerseys of their own instead of traditional sports type jerseys, which I do like. But they are very similar. I mean, it's just why did they have to be so similar?
I
Yeah,
mean,
they're just like exactly the same with different colors.
but I mean, that was the jerseys last year. They were pretty much all kind of the same, different color scheme, but you didn't have any unique outside of the special jerseys that came out for a few teams. I mean, they were all kind of the same anyway, just different colors and different fonts. But I mean, we have different fonts here. I don't know. I just hope they're better quality.
I do too. I really
That
do.
was the big thing.
Yeah, quality was pretty bad. Shaz in chat says he was hoping for like full on sports jerseys. Like, you're talking like hockey jerseys. You want like hockey jerseys? You want, because these
I
were
think
basically like the old ones were basically done after soccer jerseys, is basically what they were.
I'm thinking he means more like the button-up baseball jerseys.
Baseball jerseys would have been cool.
Like, that's what I
just-
really want.
I would have liked to have had all of those options. I mean, I really
Now-
like football jerseys. I would have loved to have a fuel football jersey, but I guess you can't make that many products.
Right.
Did you
It's
see
also,
it?
you have to think about what they're going to be comfortable wearing on stage, right? Like, I don't think anybody made soccer jerseys with the thought of well, these are just going to look cool. I don't care how you can move in them. You know what I mean? Like, you have to think about that too.
They wear sweats and flip-flops on stage. I think they're good on the comfortable scale.
The sweats bug the shit out of me. The sweats have always bugged the living crap out of me. I just feel like they got out of bed, they walked out into their sweats, and they always don't fit properly, and it just...
Did you ever buy one of the...
They've got the skinny ankle things.
Did you ever buy one of the Overwatch League sweats?
Melissa did. I've got a Dallas Fuel undershirt that's like a Under Armour thing. But
I bought the New York XL sweatpants, and yeah, you just get them and you're just like, well, this feels awkward.
Dude,
like,
they're
why is my ankle tight?
Yeah, they're super tight from the knee down, and then the butt area is just this huge. Like any thin person that ever wears them looks absurd.
Large.
Like Jake always used to look so absurd in his sweatpants because it's like, dude, those are just weird. Like they're made for people with big asses, I guess.
Yeah, they were made for raucous.
Yes.
Yes.
Did you guys also see what Space was wearing? What looked like a long sleeve jersey?
Yeah,
that's interesting.
I did see that.
I think if you sell long sleeve jerseys, not like long sleeve T-shirts, but like long sleeve jerseys, that would probably be a big seller.
Depending on where you're at. It's interesting the Gladiators have the long sleeve one on instead of New York, where it would actually make sense to have long sleeves because it gets pretty cold, you know?
It's cold on stage, though. Like
it is definitely cold on stage.
Cold. That's why they usually wear long sleeves or sweats.
The arena was like an ice box. You could literally blow sometimes and see your breath there. I mean, it was nuts cold.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know. We don't have a team around here.
Yeah, well,
not still bitter.
We don't either. We just
not at all.
We made the trip a few times. But yeah, so are you gonna get one of these jerseys?
100%. I'm gonna be buying a Fissure Vancouver Titans jersey.
Why?
He's my favorite player.
Oh, why? Because he just has a lot of retired jerseys because he goes to every team in the world.
I have my Soul Dynasty Fissure jersey.
Well, why don't you have an LA Gladiators Fissure jersey?
I do not have one.
See?
Fissure is like the T.O. Terrell Owens of freaking Overwatch League. He's a cancer. Say, cut him out and leave him out.
It doesn't matter. You can be the most skilled person in the world, but you can't work on a team.
I just feel bad for the Vancouver Titans because they made a bad call.
Hey, we don't know that yet. Maybe
history repeats itself.
Maybe if they would have had Fissure instead of Bumper, they would have beaten the Shock.
Yeah,
maybe. But as for besides
you're telling
jerseys,
me Bumper's smile doesn't make you happier than Fisher's like
Bumper's smile doesn't
play
win games.
Yes, it does. It wins fans' hearts.
That doesn't win games. If that was the case, then Mickey and Bishu would be the top 2 players in the Overwatch League.
Aren't they not?
No.
You do make a good point there. You do make a pretty good point. But I digress. I'm not going to buy one because I don't think they look good. But that's just, that's just my opinion. I could be wrong.
I'm going to buy one because I like the black
Boomer
ones.
Bob.
Boomer Bob. Another
Boomer
one
Bob
of my many opinions is Zoe is going to be great taking over the desk and being the voice of the Overwatch League. I wasn't a fan of her much through season 1, but boy, she won me over season 2, man. I think she is going to be awesome at it. I think she is a genuinely awesome person, and that's going to come out in the broadcast. So I was pretty excited to hear this.
Yeah, I'm excited about Zoe. I really like Zoe. I think she really grew a lot. She does her homework. She knows. She's done a lot of different roles within the Overwatch League, which I think helps a little bit too with that kind of understanding and knowledge. I also think it would have been really hard for somebody to come in new and take on the host role.
I still think
there's been too
Avast
much.
could have done it. I think that would have been great. And he still
I
could,
don't
you know, you
know.
never know. They had 2 before, so someone's going to have to take over sometimes for her.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm with you, Bob. Like, I love that Zoe is going to be taking over as like the host, because I think from an analytical role on the desk, sometimes she struggled from the analytical point of
But
like maths and stuff like that.
Season 2, she got so much. I mean,
She got 10 times better.
She made Bren look like a certified idiot. You know, like
Is that hard?
Is that hard? Yeah.
No, it's not very hard. Pretty sure most of our hardcore listeners could make Bren look like he doesn't know what he's talking about.
So, but her transitioning more into the host role, I think she's better suited. She's got that personality of like moderating and attempting to keep people on track or something like that. I mean, the same thing goes for podcasting. Like, I enjoy podcasting. I could not be a host because I'm not the best at moderating.
It's a very different thing.
It's different
really
aspects. Like, you have to like keep stuff on track and do stuff like that. And I think Zoe fits that personality perfect. I do think Avast could do it. I still am holding out hope that Avast will actually be on the desk. And it just isn't announced yet.
I still want to know how the desk is going to work. Is it going to travel?
Exactly.
I don't think so. I think the desk will be based in LA.
I think it's going to be remote out of LA as well.
Probably recorded right inside the Blizzard offices probably now.
Yeah. The only ones that wouldn't be is maybe the Chinese ones that happen at like 4 a.m. You know what I mean? In those instances, they may have a desk out in China or Korea or something like that for those homestands. But we're generally not watching those live.
Yeah.
So we don't care about like the halftime show or halftime talk.
It's
like
true.
when you go back and watch VODs, most of the time
through that.
Yeah, you skip through it.
Yeah.
So, but I think that it's going to be based in LA. Go from there. And yeah, I think this was a really smart move. Really smart move. Now, I was a big Puckett fan.
I was too.
I'm huge, yeah.
So I think this is one of the next best choices after Puckett left.
You know, Puckett will be doing all the New York homestand games, though. Did you read that?
Yes. Yes, I did see that, which is awesome. And I'm sure Golden Boy will be there as well.
Yeah.
Probably.
So
New York's got some hype.
Right? It's like there's a lot of going on in New York. Might be one of those big cities that I keep hearing about up here in Wisconsin.
Weird.
It is big,
From
man.
Kansas. Not in Kansas anymore.
So Jaws makes it into the Overwatch League as Hex's partner. Hex has a new partner in crime. Jaws has done quite a few smaller Overwatch events. He did, I think what I was reading, he did the Paris World Cup preliminaries, and I haven't actually seen him in action, or at least I don't remember seeing him in action, because usually when I would catch Tier 2 and Tier 3, I half the time wouldn't even see what the casters looked like, so I don't know if I've ever actually heard him cast. Do you guys know?
I think he did the World Cup too.
Did
Something at the World Cup.
I don't
he was with
seeing
Leg
him there.
Day. Yeah, he was with Leg Day.
He was the guy that was with Leg Day. Okay.
There's also leaks that Reinforce will be a caster.
Which worries me.
I don't know how I feel about that. Reinforce I thought would be good for the desk.
They already had him on the desk, though. I don't think he brings enough personality from what they thought. Pizzazz, yeah. But I do think you could pair Reinforce with like someone like an Uber, right? Where Reinforce is just there giving the information and somebody is there to hype you up and to kind of.
Yeah, because right now, so you got Jaws and Hex, Uber and Mr. X, I don't think you break up that duo. That's your number one.
No.
You got Jake and ZP.
Brennan Sideshow.
Brennan Sideshow. You've got Achilles.
Hope to God Brett is doing the play-by-play. That's all I have to say. I think you could probably do that.
Wolf and Achilles, but they'll be the ones doing the Korean because they're already
as much as we assume. Yes.
Well, they moved back.
Oh.
Well,
so
they moved back to Korea. There's literally one Korean team, guys. Let's not get ahead
I can
of
see
ourselves.
them being the ones to travel to
China. Yep.
Yeah.
That's probably the plan.
I don't know who the heck they would have to hire somebody new to pair with Reinforce. Like there's not that extra person.
Correct.
And that leaves just Zoe and Custa on the desk.
That is weird. I feel like the desk has got to have some casters on it, or they have to get more people, or it's going to be, I don't know, it's going to be really weird. I am excited and scared to death all at the same time about how this is all going to shake out.
Yeah, I just feel like there's just so little time that this information hasn't been disseminated, right? Like, I feel like by now, with the league starting in a little over a week, we should know some of these things. And I think that's what worries me, is that they're still scrambling. Because if they had them locked in, we'd know about them.
Oh, they know who's going to be casting. I
don't know if they do. It feels
Why
like...
wouldn't they announce it?
It feels like this season...
They haven't announced any of it.
This season is Pete V's first... start of a season opener as the commissioner, and it feels like he just procrastinated doing his homework, and they're just trying to pick up all of the pieces fast.
Well, and maybe
they might not have
people
expected
were coming back
Yeah.
that didn't end up coming back, and maybe negotiations are taking longer than he thought they might.
Well, I hate the simple fact that Overwatch League is not even announcing who's casting.
I know.
I mean, they're all posting about it themselves.
Yeah.
On Twitter. Like Hex's post was great. This is my announcement. I will be back.
Yeah.
That was it.
That's such a Hex. That's such a Hex.
Such a Hex
But,
thing to do.
Why would the league not post about who's going to be casting?
I know they don't even have articles about it on their website. Like, it's nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they need
it's
to hire some PR.
They need to hire 2 to 3 more people. Leg Day did not get hired. That is 100% certain. Which I actually thought they would hire Jaws and Leg Day to be the Europe announced team.
Brennan Sideshow are going to be in Europe.
I thought they'd keep them over here.
Well, it just makes sense.
So. They're both
with
from
Leg
Europe,
Day and Jaws. I mean, they've been casting EU contenders for 2 years now together almost, and it just made sense for them to stay over there. So the fact that they hired Jaws and not Leg Day kind of sucks. But yeah,
I think they wanted to keep Hex, and they needed to find somebody that paired well with Hex. Maybe Hex had a say in it. I don't know.
Hex wanted off that Bud Light pregame thing that he's been doing that nobody ever watched.
That was a weird thing.
I forgot it was going on until Totem told me about it like a month after. I'm like, where's Hex been? And he's like, he's doing the Bud Light. I'm like, shh, that's still a thing. I didn't know that.
Good to know. Good to know.
Good to know. I still won't watch it.
Well, Sembler's back to casting CSGO. So Sembler's heading back home. But even what I thought was weird is Monty is going to cast CSGO. And I don't know, Monty. I don't know that CSGO is complicated enough to make Monty happy.
I think Monty's whole reasoning behind going and casting CSGO was they gave him a lot of power. And him and Thorin were able to kind of develop it the way that they wanted. And I think they're both very strong personalities. And I think any game that is a good game that would give them that freedom, they would go with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like,
I just
and
wonder if it's
Monty-
going to be a complicated enough game to keep Monty's attention because he likes all those weird mechanics,
Yeah,
But he's doing more of like the skits and things like that.
which I really miss from season 1. I loved like Judge Monty and all that, and like all those little skits, and when he showed up looking like a rock star, and
I think Monty, and this is semi unpopular opinion, I think Monty served his purpose in the Overwatch League. He came in, him and Doa came in as like the big name free agent casters. Like, this is who we got, look who we brought in. This is take us serious type of thing.
yeah.
And Monty and Doa served that purpose well. And then you saw them slowly become not the top notch team. Then you started to see the people who grew up with Overwatch and like the, you know, the Abyss,
Mm-hmm.
ZP, you know, Jake, Custa, like these people who started with Overwatch and grew with it didn't come in already being known. And they started going up. And I think Monty and Doa maybe realized that, you know what, they did their job. They brought like the name to Overwatch. They're going to move on to their next thing. And like Mel said, he's just getting more power.
Yeah, I feel kind of bad for Doa though, because he's just all by himself. All by
I thought Doa was going with him.
No.
I don't think Doa's not there. It's just similar. And Monty and Thorin. And then there's other people I just don't know them. They're
It
not
could
from
be
Overwatch.
that Doa comes, but
Like,
I don't know.
Hey, Monty, it's me. Do you have any work?
Hey, buddy.
How you
Old
doing?
friend.
Just catching up.
Remember me?
How's
We
everything going?
casted together for like 15 years. Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
We did a
I
lot.
really miss that.
We did
We
a
should
lot of
try
fun
and
things.
cast again.
Oh my God.
Oh, so Paris did a really interesting thing. They've decided to live in New Jersey rather than live over in France.
Mm-hmm.
The people in New Jersey don't even want to live in New Jersey. Why the hell are the Paris Eternal going there? Someone had to say it.
I think for them to get the crowd behind them when they go to Paris, which isn't until, when do they go to Paris? Like week 10? They're in Paris. I think
Mhm.
having more time to practice with less travel in the beginning is a smarter idea. Because their games in the beginning, like we talked about, are in New York, Washington, Houston, Washington, Florida. That's their first 5 games, right? Like, why move to Paris to come back every week?
Yeah, it's actually really, really smart. It's a really business savvy thing to do, but it is in Jersey, though. I've never been to
It is.
Jersey, but a lot of people talk smack on Jersey. I don't know if it's actually true or if it's just a joke in a meme, but all I know about Jersey is I've heard of Jersey Shore. I've never watched it, but I've heard
Fist
of it.
pumping.
Like Arsenio Hall?
No. A little different than Arsenio. Arsenio is more back and forth. Fist pumping is more up and down.
Arsenio was more like a circle.
Okay.
Like
Like
it
a
was-
punching bag.
Yeah, like you're
Okay. Yeah.
you're hitting
No,
the time back.
Jersey Shore, the fist pumping is more like you're throwing it up in the air.
Mm.
You know,
Maybe.
GTL, Gym Tan Laundry.
Maybe someday I will check it out, but I doubt it.
Yeah, it's a genius move. I mean, it saves them a buttload of money. They don't have the homestand, like you said, to like week 10-ish.
Mhm.
And it's not like they're going to build a fan base over there by not playing there.
Right.
Like, they're not going to be holding like events over there while they're traveling around the world to play in other events.
And
So
I mean,
there's no need for them to go back to Paris.
it's not like
But-
Dallas, who has like a state of the art facility in Dallas, you know, a big area for the teams to work and all of that. It's not like that. Like they don't have that over there. At least
I guess
that I
though,
know
what
of.
does that do to the homestand model though? If teams start doing this, right? They're like, well, I'm just gonna stay in the US, and then all of a sudden your home team doesn't even live in your hometown.
That is weird.
I think it makes sense just for the European teams.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just them in London at this point.
Right.
China and Korea, it makes more sense because they have all 4 teams over there. If they get 2 more teams over in Europe, I don't think they stay over here as much because there'll be twice as many European homestands. That travel goes way down.
Yeah.
But I think they need to get 2 more teams over in Europe for it to truly be a thing.
Yeah, well, they just needed more teams on that side of the world. That's why this model is just a little weird. I would have rather just had 2 leagues, just had the U.S. League. That's my opinion. I just would have rather had that. It would have been everything more healthy, and then you could have just done the Super Bowl. Let's call it the Super Keyboard. I don't know what you'd call the event, but
the Super Keyboard.
You could just have them play.
You say
one
like the
match.
Super Bowl, like football is a bowl.
Like, does the winner in Super Keyboard? Let's dive in Super Keyboard.
Hey, welcome to Super Keyboard. Yeah,
is that like a golden keyboard you get for winning?
Hell yeah!
But then, who are you naming the keyboard after?
Nate Nanzer.
Nate Nanzer. I was just about to say it.
I don't know if you can go Nate.
The Nanzer
ditch
board.
the league after.
But he is he's the guy that started it all.
The visionary.
No, well, if you look at the other sports, like football, for instance, when the Packers beat the Chiefs in Super Bowl I,
You dirty, bad person.
I'm just saying they named it after the best coach.
Who's in the Super Bowl this year?
Well, you still haven't won one.
Well, the Stram Trophy
We won one.
wouldn't have sounded as good as the Lombardi Trophy, so I'm cool with it. I mean, that's just a cool name.
So the keyboard would just be referred to as the Nanzer?
The Nanzer.
And like a second place, like if you lose, do you get a golden mouse?
No, you just get to go home
And that's
the
called
first
the Krusty.
loser.
You get a key. You get one golden key.
F. You get F, a golden F.
But I mean, that would have been a lot better for the actual model that they're trying to do. The global regional league is this is going to be tough.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, 100%. It's going to be pretty rough. But they just need to introduce a few more teams, and I think it will start to even out a little.
Yeah.
In theory.
It definitely could. It definitely could. I don't know. But are they going to add more teams? Like, this has been talked about, as like a make or break season. It could.
That's why they didn't announce any new teams. If this year goes fairly well, I think they announce 4 to 5 new teams next year because you have the talent out there. I think to really add 4 to 5 new teams.
One thing they just can't do this year is they cannot let something like GOATS ruin 3 stages of pro play. I mean, it was horrible. Like, let's just call it what it was. It was horrible.
Yeah, it wasn't great. No. I will give you that. But I also am a firm believer that no matter what meta is meta, people will be up in arms about it.
100%.
Well, supposedly they plan on changing rapidly, like talking like League of Legends type fast changes, and where you're just never gonna know what's up. And I don't know if that's good or bad either,
because we don't know the cycle.
Yeah, how's that going to work with the Overwatch League? Because before they would do it in stages. Now it's just like you may find out that next week you're going to play on a different patch.
Yeah, it's nuts.
I actually talked about this on Heroes Never Die last week. I wish they would move more towards a like a BR type of format with it. I actually want them to get rid of the PTR because I think the PTR right now is one of the most wasted things. Like you put stuff on the PTR, nobody's going to test it out. You go on once, you try it out, and you're done.
Unless it's like,
what does that do?
Ginormous changes. Like when 222 was coming in, I didn't even play that season. I didn't even do the 10 games.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even play because I was playing only PTR.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that was the only time I ever did something like that.
Released it straight into game. Now, I'm not saying it goes straight into the Overwatch League, but they don't actually make any of the changes that are wrong on their patches until after they're live.
Sometimes.
Because they don't have enough sample data.
Exactly. People aren't playing enough on the PTR to get sample sizes. So move towards, I mean, heck, Fortnite releases patches weekly.
Mm-hmm.
And
people are like, people are saying things like 2 to 3 weeks changes popping in. And if that's the case,
into the Overwatch League?
Into Overwatch. So I'm guessing they just keep it with Overwatch League too. And like, that's what we were saying. You're like having somebody who can play a bunch of different things is really the best thing you can have going into to season 2. Well, that didn't turn out to be true, but if they're making the changes in season 3 like every 3 weeks, then it's going to be true. Like you're going to have some adaptable players.
Yeah, but do you think that do you think that the Overwatch League is going to play the live version of the game at all times?
I think it's very possible.
Didn't they announce something along those lines last year?
They said they were going to try.
They said they were going to try to keep it as close as possible.
Yep.
They were going to try to keep patch updates consistent with stages, but there's no stages now. So there's no good time to change things.
Mm-hmm.
So they either change things constantly or they set times where things can change, or they don't change until mid-season.
Midpoint. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and then you have to think about the bye weeks, because whatever changes do pop in, the teams that are on buys, when those changes pop in, are going to have a very, like a substantial benefit to their practice time and getting to see what other teams did with the new changes. It could be a huge thing.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I
There's
guess
a
we'll
lot that
find out
goes into
tomorrow or today when you're listening to it, because we're getting a dev update. They said by the end of the month.
Uh-huh.
We haven't gotten one yet, and they release those on like Tuesdays.
Mm.
So
maybe, but it's a dev update.
Overwatch League.
But it's a dev update about Overwatch, not necessarily Overwatch League. We need like Overwatch League update.
One foot then the other.
And
Let's just go slowly here.
I want it, and I want it now, Ed.
Yeah, Papa Jeffrey Cap. It's not Jeff anymore. It's Jeffrey.
Oh man,
that's what he went by at BlizzCon.
Jeffrey
Kaplan is
what
was on stage.
Did you know that I got to give him a hug and take a picture with him?
Mm.
Yep.
He told me that I was his favorite person.
Oh, was this
just in the world?
Was this at BlizzCon?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Said he's such a big fan of Al Recap, and he loved the Cavalry when she was on it, and he's a big fan. Super nice
big
guy.
Mel fan. Super Mel fan.
Seems like somebody got bribed.
He was super nice until Frito showed up. And
True,
then
Frito definitely.
Him and Frito butt heads pretty hardcore. But
man.
That's a story for a different time. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the Dallas homestand details for week 1, Mel?
Yeah, I mean, they just released some of the information. They talked about tickets, are like $39 for 1 day, $65 for a 2-day pass, which is, I think, a lot
Reasonable.
cheaper.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
very reasonable.
Yeah, it's pretty reasonable. So they've got, I think it's in the same place that they did their home stand.
Is it?
Is that right?
Tell me the name of it, and I'll tell you. I'm trying to
I
look
don't
through
know.
this wall of text in their press release here.
Yeah, no, I know. But I believe it's at the same place. But then they also announced that it's the esports stadium in Arlington. No, that's a different place, isn't it?
That's the smaller venue.
Okay. But they have like a fan festival going on with some bonus stuff. They've got a couple exclusive perks. So they've got merchandise with player jackets, Dallas hometown memorabilia, and things that aren't offered on the website currently. And then they have Gaku Space, who is the Genji voice actor, there to kind of do autographs and photos and talk to people in a Genji voice. And yeah, I think they've got player autograph signings. That's pretty standard.
Yeah,
So
pretty normal.
yeah, but I thought it was cool. I mean, they're putting their efforts into making it an event and not so much. It sounds like they're making sure that there's other things to do, so that if your team's not currently playing, you can still want to be there.
Yeah, I mean, just like they had a whole bunch of different games and stuff. They have different. At the Dallas one, they had a lot of different vendors coming. I think the most popular one was what's that place that's like Hooters? Oh,
Twin Peaks.
Twin Peaks, yeah. I think that was the most popular booth at the
Why?
place.
Shocker.
Bunch of nerds like all around these gorgeous girls, and then the other nerds that are too afraid to come talk to the girls, that are just standing watching the other nerds
then
talk to
there's
the
Bob.
girls. And then there's me, and I'm like, "Hey,
Bob's
what's
like
up?
getting behind the booth trying to take pictures with them.
Can we get a
Oh my
selfie?
God.
Selfie? Yep, selfie." But
No, I think this is cool. I also love the fact that these homestands are no longer like, okay, you need to be at the arena from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Right.
It's now like, okay, you could show up at 3:30 and leave at 8:30, and you catch all the matches for that day.
Right.
which is really nice because whenever we went there for live stuff, it was taxing staying for
exhausting.
all the matches. I mean, it was taxing.
I mean, they were having 3 to 4 in a day, and they'll just be having 2. But these are the smaller homestands.
Mm-hmm.
So there are larger homestands where I think they will have 4 games in a day.
Yeah, and they're smart that they put Dallas games the final game.
Yes.
I think they learned their lesson was that Atlanta. They had them like the
second to
primetime
last
game in the middle.
Yep.
It was the
And then
second to
everyone
last
just
game.
left.
It was
Yeah.
the ghost town for the last game. Like legit ghost town.
It was, crazy. Like, I mean, even media, like the entire media was packed up and gone before halftime of the last
yeah.
match. Like we were one of the few, media people still there in Atlanta, like during
Yeah, like
that
the
last
post
game.
conferences, the post match conferences was like legit 2 people. Okay, sorry. Just have a couple
Weird.
questions.
Be like, do I need to
Good
raise
job.
my hand?
Right.
The only one here.
I have a question over
Can I
here.
just spout off on questions.
Well,
Great. Thanks.
Dallas, I hope Dallas takes care of their media a little better this time around. It was really hard to record anything at the Dallas venue because they put media just like in a corner that was like sectioned off with basically tarps, like, and you could hear everything going on in the arena, and it all came in all of our recording equipment. It was pretty bad, but in Atlanta they took care of it a lot better. So I'm hoping they just keep learning those types of those types of things as it goes on, and then we could get more coverage from different media outlets from the actual, from the actual home stands.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, there's a lot of things that they could do to kind of up the production value and stuff like that. Like, I know some, and this is going into concerts and more, but like if they have a soundboard, like most places that have have a soundboard
At
that you
the
can plug into.
Blizzard Arena, we could plug into the soundboard and we could all record their mics that were on the table.
You could record the mics.
That was nice.
You could get the feedback, so hopefully that is something that they do in the home stands, or at least think of.
Yeah, they didn't have it at any of the ones that I went to, but they did always have it at the Blizzard Arena, which was definitely nice.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't even have mics at a lot of the home stands we went to, though, for the press conferences.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, we were using our own
no soundboard
equipment.
without mics.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Just start yelling real loud.
I mean, there wasn't a ton of media, though. You know what I mean? So, like,
it wasn't
not like there's like 300 people in the room. There was like 25, 50 tops.
Kind of like the panels at Con Before the Storm type of thing.
Similar
like
in
20,
size, yeah.
People there.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Well, we're getting into it. We got one more show before the league kicks off. I'd love it to kick off fast, because I'm getting bored of talking about the talent and the news and all of that. Like, I want to talk about some games. I want to see some games in action. I want to see how this all plays out, because there's so many changes we're going through now. I mean, we're gonna have a completely different, basically half of the talent is different, so that's going to be an adjustment period where you initially don't like somebody and then they grow on you, and you know how that goes. And then you also have got it on YouTube now, so we're gonna have to figure out the pros and cons of that. There's just so much going into it. I just want them to play a game so I can watch it. Before we go, I want to know, each of you, looking at the teams and the games that are played in week 1 at the New York and Dallas homestands, which game are you most excited for? We'll go with you first, Ed.
I'm going to take a weird one. Are we doing one of each? Or
Sure.
just one total?
Sure. Yeah.
All right, one of each. New York. Paris versus the Spitfire. Because I think these are two teams that everyone has no idea what they're going to be about. I'm higher on Eternal than a lot of people, and I'm way more down on the Spitfire than a lot of people. Now, Paris, it won't have Hanbin in there this first homestand, which sucks because he's a very good off tank, but they do have Smexy. So he can hold his own. So I'm very interested to see that kind of how those two teams actually look.
Okay.
And then the next one, Valiant versus the Fuel. For the same reason. Like, I'm also pretty high on the Dallas Fuel because I love their DPS lineup. I love the K. I love having Doa. I loved how they got Gamsu instead of OGE. They brought Note back. Like, it was great. And then the Valiant was a complete gut job. And I want to see how they perform.
lost Costa and they were like, I don't know what to do with their lives.
Yeah.
They have Shax, who I really like. I think he could be a dynamite DPS player. I don't think the Valiant's DPS is a concern, actually. Everything else on the team is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But the DPS lineup is
Valiant
not my
is
biggest concern.
Definitely weird. Definitely weird. What about you, Mel?
Oh, well, you let him pick 2, so he limited my options now. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I mean, I think I want to see the home teams play in both. So I think the New York versus Spitfire game will probably be better than the New York versus Boston game. Just a wild guess. But I think that one should be good. I'm excited to see Puckett and the hype of New York. I think will be exciting to see just in general. And then for the Dallas game, I've got to go with Dallas and Valiant. I mean, Dallas and Shock, that was just a poor scheduling week 1 situation.
That's just an
there for
ass
you,
whooping
but-
waiting to happen.
Surprisingly, that's the
mean.
game I am most excited to see for one reason. For
What?
San Francisco
Like to
Shock
get
to
your ass
get
kicked?
booed into the ground. They are gonna get so much shit from the Dallas fans. Like I'm gonna look at
I mean, they do have
Sinatra
some
walking out
emotional
getting
players.
booed.
It actually could get to them a little bit. You know what
It
I mean?
could.
Like,
And then they just hug their trophy from last year.
yeah.
And they're like, oh,
Then they
we're
remember
cool.
they could beat Dallas with their hands tied behind their back. But, it's fine. I think it'll be exciting. I think they're 2 really good locations for the opening week homestands.
Phenomenal.
I mean, very hype locations.
Yeah, for the New York homestand, I just want to see New York kick the crap out of Boston. I mean, that's the most exciting thing for me, and I just don't like Boston.
Yeah.
Basically what it boils down to. I don't like the Patriots. I don't like Boston teams. Sorry, Boston, but no, I just don't.
I think for the league's sake, I hope it's close. I hope New York wins, but I hope it's close because New York versus Boston is a very iconic, rivalry.
Right.
And rivalries are always good for the game. So if it's close, hopefully, it can start building towards that. I don't expect it to be.
In what universe is that game close? That's like saying the Dallas Shock game's going to be close.
I don't know. We'll have to see. There's so many questions up in the air because we don't even know how half of these tanks play Sigma. Like we don't know so much. Yeah. And there's just so much we don't know. So I think that's why I think power rankings are just a joke right now because nobody has any freaking idea what's going to happen. And if you talk like you do, then you're just an idiot. Like, I guess it's fun for some, but it makes no sense to me. Now, if you do it in the middle of the season, now that makes sense. But
there's just a lot of new talent too. I think there's a lot of new talent that I don't know enough about to even semi-accurately assess team dynamics right now. There's just so much that's up in the air.
When we were doing for Owl by the Numbers, we had to do a draft on draft buff, and I'm looking at some of these players. I'm like, I don't even know who this is. Who is this? And so I have to go read about each of them. And the draft buff was cool. Like it had a little write up. Some of them I didn't agree with, but it was neat. They had a little write up on each player, and thought that was some really cool polish. But that's for a different show. We'll be talking about that tomorrow. We're going to have the guys responsible for draft buff on Owl by the Numbers. So you guys should check that out too.
The only thing we know for sure for the first week is that we're all wrong.
100%.
We just, for all we know, Boston is top 3, and we have no idea
San
why.
Francisco Shock sucks this year all of a sudden. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean,
we'll see.
Boston, so many people said Boston was going to be horrible season 1, and then they come out and they're good. It was
all depends on the
out of left field. Yep, it all depends on the patch.
We switched to 2-2-2. Florida and Washington went from the 2 worst teams in the league to stage 4, both finished top 5.
Right.
Yeah, it's definitely bizarre. Some would say, I say that's exciting. I'd like to see that more often, but if it had changed every stage, that would have made a lot more sense than 3 stages of GOATs and then all of a sudden completely different game,
Let's not get Bob started on GOATs again.
Right?
Oh, bad.
Frickin' boomer.
Is that a sound a goat makes?
I think it's a sheep. I don't know what the sound a goat makes. I don't know. I have bad, like when I was a kid,
I was thinking
my mom
for
has...
a big line right then, and I couldn't think of one off the top of my head.
So I tried to find this old photo of me when I was a little kid My mom can't find it, but I wanted to tweet it out during GOATs because it's hilarious. It's me as a kid on top of this big rock, bawling as this goat's eating my shirt and pulling me and trying to pull me off the rock. And I'm just bawling, and my mom's getting all these pictures because she thinks it's the funniest thing in the world. And it traumatized me. Huh?
And they were in black and white.
Oh,
and
yeah, right.
You had to hold still for 5 minutes. Well, you did that.
It was film, but it wasn't black and white. But yeah, if I ever find that, I'll definitely tweet it out because it was hilarious. It wasn't funny at the time. I remember being extremely scared. I'd never seen a goat before and tried to eat me at the petting zoo.
So you came in prejudiced against goats.
Yes,
True.
From the beginning.
You see the underlying anger coming out now.
Oh,
it is
man.
all making sense now.
Full circle.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to start closing up the show. You can find us on Twitter at @OwlRecap. You can find us weekly on Twitch at twitch.tv/OwlRecap. You can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/OwlRecap. You can find us on almost every podcatcher via whatever podcatcher you like to use. You can also send us emails to contact@owlrecap.com. We encourage iTunes reviews. That helps a lot. YouTube comments and likes can help us a ton too, to get the content seen by more people and heard by more. So any second you could take to click follow and the bell and all that jazz would be much appreciated by us. If you want to join our Discord, you can join it at discord.me/OmnicLab. Thank you so much for coming, Ed. Where can people find you?
Okay. So you can find me on Twitter at Edanar Overwatch. That's EDANAR. I'm on Twitch at twitch.tv/Edanar. I'm part of 4 podcasts. So I do Dropping Spicy from Mash Those Buttons. It's an Apex podcast. I do OW All by the Numbers, which is a fantasy Overwatch League podcast. I do Heroes Never Die, which is just a general Overwatch podcast. And then I do Tavern Tales, which is a Hearthstone Battlegrounds podcast. So yeah, you can find me at any of those places.
Awesome. And Mel, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at MelOverwatch. That's about it.
Yeah, and you can find me on Twitter at Blazin_Bob. That's BLAZZIN_BOB. I've been thinking about streaming again recently, but I don't know.
What would you stream? Overwatch?
No, I would
probably just have random games.
I'd probably stream WoW Classic, raiding, PvP, stuff like that. Although I do play a ton of other games, I guess I could stream them, but like I always play them in my underwear and like I don't know, like streaming. You gotta,
I gotta get dressed.
Yeah, you have to wear pants, or at least you can't get up.
No, you don't.
You can't get up.
You can't. You just have to be smart about it. You have to do the shuffle up. So you gotta like
shuffle to the side.
Stand up. You don't want to pull a Zalea. Do you know who Zalea is with Hearthstone?
No.
He got up and accidentally flashed his wing.
Oh wow!
Seriously?
Like 100% accident. Like his shorts were riding up, and he got up and he got perma-banned, and then he just made a new Twitch account.
Oh my god!
Jeez.
So you don't want to show the wing on Twitch.
Yeah, and don't wear shorts that short. Jesus.
Sometimes people like short shorts.
Dude, I had a roommate once that would wear shorts like that. He'd be poking out all the time. I'd be like, dude, you can't wear those shorts around the house. He's like, but they're my favorite, man.
No one wants to see the mushroom.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to get out of here before it gets a little too crazy. And we will see you next week. Take it easy.